Good afternoon. Mamokgethi, thank you so much for joining us on Phenomenal Women. It is such a pleasure that you were able to find the time to be here. And I just wanted to truly thank you for the great interview that you did on Power FM on Monday with Lawrence. You were amazing. You were a great ambassador for Phenomenal Women. So just to touch on how we first met. I mean, we met on the ad, on the shooting for the ad for Benengi STEM.
Yes.
That was put together by Miss Savannah Mazia.
Yeah.
And what a journey to get to this point.
Yeah, and I think it was meant to be. I mean, we met, we took a picture together.
Yeah.
I put it on Facebook and everyone thought you were my sister.
Yeah, yeah.
And in many ways, I think it was meant to be because we've kept in contact on and off since then.
Yeah.
And here we are today.
Yeah. Would you please tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey to this amazing point?
Well, I'm going to start with saying I was born in Pretoria because being born there with my mother, who was a domestic worker, is very much connected to what I am and who I am today.
Right.
And I went to many different schools because, as you can imagine, I was born in 1966. That's at the end of the year, and that's when the Group Areas Act was in action. And so my mother's family was the last one, or one of the last families to move out of Eastwood.
Right.
And so I grew up with the family, working class family, and so went to 8 different schools. So I grew up in Garankuwa. I spent some of the time in the village in Marapiani, where I started school with my grandmother. And I went to boarding school in Hebron, the village, and I went to university. My junior degree was at University of Uputatswana.
Okay.
And it was in 1984. And I completed my undergraduate degree there and did all my postgrad at Wits. And I didn't know about academia until I went to Wits and I was doing my master's.
Right.
When I finished my master's, I really was inspired by Professor Edler, who was my professor and supervised me for my honors project. And I remember when I finished my master's, I went to her and I said, what will it take to have your job? I put it exactly that way.
Wow.
And she sat down and she said, oh, you don't want my job now, right? I said, no, not now. But one day.
Time.
One day. So tell me what it takes. And she told me what it takes. And then after my master's, I took 1 year break. And then I came back 1998 to do my doctorate. And I loved mathematics. It was always a subject that I got highest marks in. I mean, the highest marks as much as you can imagine. But my final year mark for maths was 74%. Everything else was below. I never could score a 17, anything except for maths. So then I thought that's the line that I would go for. So basically, sort of that's my journey, and I got attracted in that way into academia. Got a doctorate in 2002, and it's been an unexpected journey, a mixture of things. What made it happen? Mainly who I worked with, the amount of time I put into it, the focus, and the understanding that success is not just about money.
Yeah.
That it's about other things. That if you get other things, the money follows. From being an academic, starting as a senior tutor, to being a lecturer, senior lecturer, associate professor, and now I'm vice principal of research and innovation at UNISA. And I stayed 12 years at VETS before I went to UNISA, where I started as executive dean of science, engineering, and technology, and started as vice principal 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to be an academic.
Yeah.
And when I asked Professor Edler, what would it take? She said, you've got to do your doctorate.
Yeah.
And I remember at some stage she talking to me about the fact that a doctorate is a license to practice.
Yeah.
You cannot be an academic without a PhD.
Yeah.
And so I thought, well, if I want to be an academic, I'm going to do a doctorate.
What makes you keep going? Because I think it's easy to become complacent or to become bored. You're like, okay, I've done this 100 times. I get it. So what is it that drives you to just keep on? And I mean, the other day when we spoke, and you said that you're up at 3 and at work by 5. Yes. I still haven't wrapped my mind around that. So what keeps you doing that? What gets you out of bed at 3?
Well, I mean, I think I'm very competitive with myself.
Okay.
So what I achieved last year is not enough.
Yeah.
And it's like I want to do better than I did the last time. Success is never a destination. You never arrive.
Yeah.
When you arrive, it kills it. And it's not only with my career. I mean, it's that way with everything. I mean, you see I'm wearing a Fitbit. gosh, you should see how much I go up and down the stairs. I mean, my office is on the 10th floor.
Right.
I go up the 10th floor. UNISA is huge.
Yeah.
And meetings on the other building, on the 14th floor, I go up the stairs because I want to beat my yesterday's mark.
Yeah, but that it's the competition with yourself.
Yes.
That also is incredible. You know,
Yes.
it's not looking outside and finding some other person and
No.
it's just you doing this for you.
If you look outside, the standard might be a little low and you might think you're okay.
Yeah.
So looking outside is not always the best way.
Yeah. So from a health point of view, what else do you do? Clearly the exercises, you know, sorted, covered. I mean, do you take supplements? You know, do you watch your eating?
I watch what I eat. There's lots of things that I don't eat. I take supplements, omega 3 and 6 multivitamins, and of course I do the regular checkups. I mean, I do mammogram, I do pap smears, bone density, and all of that.
Right.
I visit my biokinetist every year and my dietitian every year, and I do relax. I mean, people think I don't relax. I do.
No, that's coming in because we want to know, like, okay, do you actually have downtime, and what do you do in that downtime? You know, or is it just this fully charged activity throughout?
I do. I mean, I do relax. I like reading. I travel, and of course, I'm addicted to stuff like that. That's not too nerdy, right?
No. I think that you've got a good balance between your personal and family time with work, and if so, what you know, do you have a strategy for making sure that work doesn't get out of hand?
I think I've got a good balance, if anything like that exists.
Yeah.
So there's a point at which my work doesn't feel like work, that it exhilarates me. There's parts of my work that I don't enjoy doing. Like when you're in a leadership position, you deal with people issues and this one fighting with this one. It's not like that doesn't excite me, okay? But there's lots of, the majority of the work that I do excites me, and so it's part of the pleasure.
Right.
And so when I say the balance, it's because my work is my pleasure as well.
Right.
But I also say balance because I don't feel like I'm starving my marriage. My husband is equally busy. You know, so some people think, well, you're going to work, you get to the office at 5 at 3 o'clock. What about your husband? For goodness sake, he's up as well. We get out at the same time, you know. And we've got children, and we make time for them, and they're at boarding school, they're at university, some of them, and so it you know, because they are older, it doesn't feel like you know, we don't have a little child that we have to look out for every day in the house. So I think it's as balanced could be.
I think that's an important point about drawing lines, you know, and communicating communicating those. So that is great. Can you tell us a little bit more about Adopt a Learner?
Yeah, Adopt a Learner is an initiative that I started in 2004. And I started it in 2002 when I got my doctorate. I was told that I discovered in 2003 I won an award, an NSTF award for the best researcher, young researcher, blah, blah. And it was written there that I'm the first black woman to get a PhD in mathematics education, black South African woman. And I was like, what? 2002?
Yeah, I know all these firsts that are still happening in the 2000s are kind of mind-blowing.
Exactly. I thought it's ridiculous. How can this be? And then I thought it's a responsibility. And I thought, how do I make sure that I'm not the last? And so that's when I came up with the idea of Adopt a Learner. And I studied it at a school where I did my grades 7, 8, and started there. So the first group of learners that I selected were from there. And it's basically targeting students from township and rural schools and rural areas. So they have to be going to school in a township or a rural area, and they have to be living there as well. All they need to have is potential. So I'm not necessarily looking for children who are getting 6 A's. Okay, those ones, the big corporates will get them and they will sponsor them. I'm looking for students who have got potential. It doesn't mean we don't reward those, and I can tell you how we do that. But I look for students with potential and passion. Because my view is that if you go to a township school, that's not very good. The possibility of getting an A are very limited. And so we give holiday classes to the 2 schools that we work with in Adopt a Learner in Garankuwa, in math, science, public speaking, and creative writing. And then at the end of the year, the best performing learners in mathematics, they have to have gotten 60% or above in mathematics. I give them what I call a starter pack. And a starter pack is a computer, 3G card, software, and that's all in the starter pack that gets you started at the university laptop.
Right.
It starts you at the university starter pack. They win a starter pack to get to university.
Right.
And so it was basically to say, with potential and passion, you can produce success.
Right.
And so some of the students that we support didn't get the amazing results. They got 50% in matric. Some of them I've got one at a nursing college, for instance. I've got some at UNISA, I've got some at VETS, UP, TUT that I'm supporting. We've got 2 who are already graduates. There's one who's graduating this year.
Do you get corporate sponsorship for that? I mean, how do you raise the funds? Because that's a big responsibility. That's a big responsibility.
With Adopt a Learner, in principle, I don't raise funds.
Okay.
I can get a corporate to adopt one of our learners.
Right.
Okay? And the way I raise funds is that I give talks. When I get invited to give a talk, I charge.
Okay.
I ask for a donation that goes to the Adopt a Learner account.
Right.
And that's how the money in the Adopt a Learner account grows.
Right.
And that's the money that we use to support the students.
Right.
And the students are supported differently. Some of them, we support them 100%, from fees to transport to everything. Some of them get NSFAS.
Okay.
But NSFAS doesn't cover their monthly stipends, so we give them monthly stipends, computer, and so on.
Right.
So they get different things.
Yeah.
And some of them, whilst we are with them, they get a scholarship and then they get off.
Okay.
Some of them we're working with Chusanani Foundation, and some of them, especially the ones who get a starter pack, who have performed well, Chusanani Foundation will get funding for them. So we've got 3 now who got their award. The Chusanani Foundation has got funding for them, and they'll be sponsored. So we collaborate with other foundations. We got Shesanyama, that's willing to come in on board to sponsor some of them, you know, and it makes sense. I mean, they make money in the township.
Absolutely.
So it makes sense that so we say, if you want to come on board with us, adopt a learner. We will support them, we will nurture them, we will mentor them.
Right.
You just adopt them and pay for them.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. What kind of legacy are you looking to leave behind?
I always say, when I'm gone, I would like to be remembered as someone who gave hope.
Yeah.
Who lived hope. So I want to leave that spirit of I can.
Yeah.
You know, hope.
Yeah.
Hope to the working class, to people who look like they will never make it. People who may be thinking that because of their background, success is not for them.
Yeah.
They don't have a choice.
Yeah.
They are doomed to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
But in fact, it is possible.
How do you see the role of social media? I mean, you know, for you in particular, not necessarily in general.
For me, it's been hugely useful.
Yeah.
I find that I can influence. I mean, it gives me an opportunity to influence a whole lot of young people.
Yeah.
Who I wouldn't have been able to reach just face to face.
Yeah.
And even them, they wouldn't have been able to reach me.
Absolutely.
And now they have access to me through social media.
And in closing, what do you think it is that makes a woman phenomenal?
Being comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
You can never be someone else. You can only be the best you. And the minute you understand that and stop pursuing being the other,
yeah,
I think that makes you phenomenal, because you can relax in who you are. And when you relax in who you are, you can give the best of who you are.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks,
it has been
Kgomotso.
such a pleasure having you, and yeah, amazing.
Thank you very much. Thank you.